According to Katie Hind, at the National Institute of Health in Washington, D.C., is the National Library of Medicine, which contains 25 million articles of life science and biomedical research. Out of all that research, there are nearly 1 million articles on pregnancy alone. And out of that 25 million articles, there's roughly 10,000 on the topic of breastfeeding. Katie Hind also goes as far to state that there are more articles over the topic of wine than there is breastfeeding. And that's kind of crazy considering breast milk is one of the very first things humans usually intake. So today my objective is to teach everyone on the topic of breastfeeding, all aspects of it. So, first off, what's in breast milk that makes it so nutritious anyways? Well, the truth is breast milk adapts to what that child needs at that time, and who is being breastfed at that time if you're tandem feeding, which means breastfeeding multiple children at once. And I will show a picture later that demonstrates how breast milk changes depending on your child's health and just the course of what your breast milk goes through over time. There are there's 2 types of milk and 2 stages of milk and 3 types of milk. The first type of milk is colostrum. This milk is a pale yellow color, otherwise known as liquid gold. It is full of antibodies that help children fight off any illnesses or pathogens that may be around them or already in their system. It is also high in protein, which acts as a laxative in newborns, which helps them pass what is known as meconium, which is the very first waste their body produces before they're even born. According to Ramisa Raymond's article, Awareness of Mothers Regarding Duration and Benefits of Breastfeeding, colostrum clears extra bilirubin, a waste product of dead red blood cells that is produced in large quantities at birth due to blood volume with jaundice prevention. This means that the jaundice that is in your child's system can be flushed out by colostrum alone, which is amazing. The second stage of milk is mature milk, and there's 2 types of mature milk. The first type is milk. This is that more watery based milk that helps keep children hydrated. And then the second type is hind milk, that has a higher fat content and just higher calories to help your children gain that weight. According to Garrett and Kel Pryor from the well-known website Baby Center, mature milk contains water, fat, carbohydrates, protein, vitamins and minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and white cells. So I'm going to show y'all now how what the different breast milks look like. This first one is that colostrum that is full of antibodies to help fight off illnesses. The second one is that more water-based milk to help keep everyone hydrated. And then that third one is high in fat and calories to help children put on more weight. And as I said earlier, breast milk adapts to what that child needs at that time. And this picture defines this perfectly. Both of these bags of milk are from the same mother within a course of 3 days. This first milk was from while she was breastfeeding a relatively healthy 7-month-old. A few days later, she discovered that her daughter had a common cold. And when you breastfeed, the saliva from an infant causes a chemical reaction in the body that triggers antibodies and different vitamins and minerals at that time, depending on what your child needs at that exact moment. And whenever her child became sick, her body started creating more antibodies to help fight off that illness, which is what gives this milk that yellow orangey color. So, breastfed babies tend to be sick less. So, how does breast milk benefit kids overall? Well, according to Nutrition Clinical Care, human milk contains immunological agents and other compounds such as secretory antibodies, leukocytes, and carbohydrates that act against viruses, bacteria, and parasites. It also helps prevent urinary, ear, just different types of infections. You also notice that breastfed babies tend to be leaner, which in turn helps to make the rates of diabetes, type 1 and 2, childhood obesity or being overweight to decrease. It also helps lower the chances of childhood cancers, celiac disease, and many other infections or diseases. But not only does breastfeeding benefit babies, it also benefits new moms. When breastfeeding, your body produces this hormone called oxytocin, which causes the uterus to contract, which helps that your oversized uterus after giving birth to size back down to its normal size quicker. Breastfeeding is also, you'll hear that it helps you lose weight. And the reason being behind that is because it's a metabolic process. It jumpstarts your metabolism. It also decreases women's chances of breast cancer and ovarian cancer. According to Alana Juman-Blinko, if all women breastfed for 4 to 12 months, the amount of women who experience breast cancer pre-menopause would decrease by 11%. Another bonus to breastfeeding for mothers is it is a natural contraceptive. They're not sure exactly what in the body causes this, but it is a scientific fact that women who breastfeed their children for the first from 0 to 6 months have less than a 2% chance of becoming pregnant. So breastfeeding has been done since literally the beginning of time, and so that means it should be easy, right? Wrong. With breastfeeding comes many struggles, but there's always a solution. So today I'm going to discuss a few of the issues that come along with breastfeeding. The first one typically is the child being unable to latch. And a very natural way to try and fix this is skin-to-skin contact. No clothing for mom, so there's no clothing obstructing the child's target, and then stripping the child down to nothing but a diaper. And that way, for one, you get that extra bonding time with the baby, but there's also no clothing to obstruct where they're trying to go. Another issue women face is a painful latch. And there's different ways you could go about trying this if you want to try it naturally. Of course, trying different holds, so cradle, football holds, and then also adjusting their latch, so dragging your breast from nose to chin so they can get it more of a mouthful, which will decrease the chance of that pinching, aching feeling that you may feel. And then there's also medications that you can apply topically to help heal any cracks or bleeding that you may experience in those early stages of breastfeeding. The most common thing women face during breastfeeding is the misconception of not producing enough milk. People look at that they're not pumping enough, that their breasts don't feel as firm like they did in the beginning, and just those things right there. When your breasts stop feeling so firm like they did in the beginning, It's because your body has completely regulated your supply, which is what it's supposed to do. So you're not overproducing, which causes problems such as mastitis or clogs in the milk duct. And as I said, pumping is not the proper indicator of breast milk supply. As I said, your body regulates exactly how much milk your baby needs. And so if you're trying to pump and breastfeed, you're going to have to work your way up to pumping. So, and babies are much more efficient at drawing out milk than a machine is. So, in conclusion, breastfeeding is the most natural and beneficial thing that you can do for your child. Even if it is only for a few days, your child can get so many nutrients and antibodies to help fight off anything they may face in the future. That child is receiving so many good things just from that short amount of time of breastfeeding if you only did it for a few days. Breastfeeding can be very tedious and hard at times, and it may be challenging, but it is the most rewarding thing you can do, not only for your baby, but for yourself.